Hey guys, so I promised a presentation for for this report and all that. So I'm gonna answer a lot of the common questions that has been asked, right? So first of all, it's not only a Valentine's week type of deal or whatever this is in terms of this investment guide. This is for as long as people need it. How long is it valid for? Like the document? I mean, it's been good for the last 10 years. If the stocks mentioned in this guide have been around for at least 12 years, at least the youngest stock is about 13 or 14 years, which is technically Google, but everything else has been around for more than 20 or 30 years. So the report or the investment research is drawn from both data and of course our experiences with them and our interpretation of the market. So what is it really used for, right? So it's geared towards traders, of course, and investors. Investors want something that's solid in their portfolio to be able to buy or sell. And that's what it's also going to talk about. It talks about what to do or what is typically the best action for people who are in the trading side and of course on the investment side. Okay. Um, so at the very end, right? You're not going to get this kind of in-depth report unless, of course, you probably have a really good financial advisor who can tell you, this and that. But more often than not, financial advisors are not traders like us. We know how these things work because we trade them day in and day out at any given point in time. So all of the stocks mentioned in this report have been traded by us at least, you know, once or twice almost in every month. So it's something that we came up with because we've seen the need for people to have a more targeted approach. That's why it's called strategic, because the one thing that people don't realize is that when you buy an index fund, the misconception is you're buying into a whole basket of like 500 stocks. Just to say if you buy SPY, you think that you're buying 500 shares or 500 companies. What typically happens is that your money is actually um, uh, majority of your money is actually going to be allocated into the big weighted stocks, right? And that's exactly what this talks about. What are the biggest stocks in a basket or in the index or in the market that actually run this market? This market is the biggest fallacy, I suppose, is thinking that the 500 biggest stocks of the S&P 500 will move the S&P 500. That's completely false. And I can give you a sort of a pipeline analogy, right? If you have five pipes coming from one reservoir, and four of those pipes are bigger or than the fifth one, then obviously you're gonna have more flow on the four, right? So that's sort of what I'm trying to say with what I'm trying to talk about with this report. So I hope that kind of makes sense and it resonates with you, whether you're an investor or a trader. There is something for everybody in this report. At the very end, though, you know, it's a $100 report that it's better than basically buying a book on Amazon. It gives you a lot of useful information and a lot of educational data for you to build on in your trades. So let's kind of go forward, and because again, this is a present sort of a presentation in a way. Um, the whole world of trading, right? And this document is free to all of those who sign up for our mentorship program, but um I want to be very, very clear and very, very honest because we don't fabricate news or fabricate stuff. We tell you how it is. Some of you don't may not like the truth, but it is what it is. I'd rather be chastised for being truthful than be praised for telling you what you want to hear. So in the world of trading, and I guess to a certain extent investing, but trading more so, um, it's basically a marriage of the technicals and of course the reality of things. And what do I mean by that? We can probably talk about so many events, whether it's Brexit, whether it's Trump's winning. the way you look at the market is quite important in being able to successfully trade or invest in this in the market. So you start with the technicals, and then you kind of make sure that it makes sense with what's happening with reality, right? What does that mean? What does that even mean, right? So technicals are like the framework. If you're an architect, that's the blueprint. But along the way, you're gonna have to adjust and adjust according to what's happening as as the building is being made. Those of you who can definitely relate to this at a simplest level. But what I'm trying to say is that what makes trading so difficult for a lot of people is that when they start to learn technicals, they kind of stop there and they don't go beyond that. The problem is not everything is rigid in this market. And this is where a lot of people do struggle because most people want structure, most people want black and white. It's just not like that in trading. There are so many gray areas in trading that than black and white areas, and it becomes so much more difficult. Add to the fact that the most successful people I know, both students, clients, and people I know, from a trading community, most people I know who survive doing this thing are the most passionate and most hardworking people I know. So if you don't have a natural inclination to actually work hard, put in the time to really understand what the market is doing or learn the trends and all that, you're gonna fail. Just like in any sort of venture you're into, right? A lot of people I know who own restaurants, for example, when they open a restaurant, you do your promotion, you do your marketing. Hopefully, people come in, like your food, and they'll come back and be regulars. But a lot more often than not, at some point the hype fades and nobody comes back anymore, and your restaurant goes out of business. So this is sort of where trading is all what trading is all about, right? Countless times I've talked to a lot of clients who go into trading because their friend Brian or their friend Brad made like $6,000 in Apple last year, and you know here comes Josh who wants to make the same amount of money. So they come in, they think it's easy. They buy because somehow they picked up a $40 book on Amazon that tells them these are the things to look at. You look for butterflies, or you look for XABCD shark patterns or Gartley's or whatever, and you'll be able to buy or sell, right? And more often than not, they actually fail, and then they blame the market, they blame manipulation, and all that crap. So so there's a lot of things, right? There's a lot of things required of you if you want to succeed at this trading gig. Investors have it easy. Investors don't really care too much about the day-to-day operation or the month-to-month operation of the market. Investors just have to go look at companies they love, they buy it, they hold it for 5, 10 years. Eventually it'll make money. I mean, don't get me wrong, even if we consider those guys brazen enough to buy the all-time highs in the S&P. I think it was 1800 or something in 2007. Um, they are literally. I mean, it took them about 10 years to get back to even or even higher now, but they got back there. But again, what separates traders from investors is the time horizon, right? Traders need to always understand that their time is limited when it comes to trying to get return on their capital. Whereas with investors, they could care less because they're playing the long game. They're hoping at some point 10, 20 years from now, they keep buying and buying and buying and buying. At some point, that 100,000 they deployed on, I don't know, Apple or Tesla shares, they'll have at least 30% more, after 10 years. Whereas with traders, we put in $10,000, we better try to make 10% of that within a week or even less, right? So um, it's quite important that if you see yourself really serious about trading, you need to have the passion. You really need, I mean, it's not necessarily you need to have the, you need to be a super smart person. No, it's not really a requirement. What is required is that it's almost like if you're not really naturally good in math, then you're going to have to work harder to kind of compensate for that sort of gap in that skill. So that's kind of the same with trading. as for me, I have a natural knack for trading, so I can see how it is. Probably because I'm an engineer. I like charts. I like graphs. I can do a lot of analysis done. I can do a lot of analysis. I mean, on charts. But there's a lot of people, and I mean, like I said, 80% of people are either too busy with their jobs or just don't have the time, nor the sort of the natural inclination to look at charts and all this financial stuff, and they basically either sign up with us or sign up with someone else. So if you want to make your life easy, whether you're a trader or investor in the stock market, this document does help you improve improve your ability to look at the markets and your interpretation of the markets. If you want to improve as a trader and really be successful, I mean, beyond going beyond this document, you need to be really passionate about what you do. Without passion, of course, anything that you do is meaningless, to be honest. And you really have to love this stuff. If you already don't like this stuff, then of course, we do a lot of the hard work for you. But it's just one of those things where reality has to make sense in terms of your trading, and that is where a lot of people are really struggling at this point because they want to fade this rally, and the problem is this rally isn't going to, isn't stopping, and this is exactly why you look at the technicals and you have to kind of you know make it make sense with the reality of the situation. So if you see a setup, for example, say Google looks bullish and the market is bullish, then obviously you got to take the bullish side. You don't want to short it because you think, well, the earnings was bad and all that stuff. So you can kind of understand, right, that for us when we try to train traders, this is the kind of stuff that we really have to train them with and make sure. So it's a very big challenge for us to kind of take somebody so raw and train them in such a way to kind of rethink everything, think outside the box and all that. Because what normally people do is they try to go from the logic side, and the problem is the market isn't logical. So how do you make sense of something so illogical, but at the same time try to make money from that, right? So that's what the biggest challenge is from trading, or for traders, I mean. And if you're the kind of person who thinks training isn't for me because I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars getting some schmuck to train me, that's perfectly okay. You can go down the self-teaching route and hopefully it will work out. Most of the time it doesn't, but hey, at the end of the day, nobody is forcing you to take a class with Amplify or SMB or whoever, right? But those people who really, I'm always reminded and I always get inspired by some of the students who do sign up, and they always say, I could never put in a price for education that I can, that will teach me how to be a really, really good trader, because in the end, I will benefit in the long term. And those are the kinds of students I really love to teach because right at the get-go, they already know that they have a long road ahead of them, but they're making a sound decision at the starting point or the starting line to ensure that they are prepared for what comes their way in the future. And you can kind of already tell in that way, right? That when you're talking to somebody who really is passionate, who's really determined to succeed at this. But when you talk to somebody who's kind of like on the fence or kind of thinking, well, is this really gonna make me a better trader? I mean, and that's when you really kind of say, you know what, I can't answer that question. Maybe you should probably go somewhere else. And that's how it is. For me, I always normally screen new students to make sure that they are cut out for this, because I don't want to waste my time trying to develop a relationship with a student, making sure that he or she really gets to where he wants to be or he or she wants to be. So, um, ultimately, our job here at Equity Sense is to always share our ideas, our interpretation of the markets. You can take it for whatever you think it is, whether it's good or bad, whether you think we're on crack or whether you think, we're getting it right. But ultimately, the way I gauge myself is, am I continuously successful in all of my trades? And if I am, then of course I'm going to attract more people who are wanting to really kind of get a better understanding of the market. If I probably start failing and I, fail consistently, then that's when people are like, yeah, I'm not going to sign up or pay these guys anymore because they seem to suck so badly, right? So it's at the end of the day, I don't judge traders with how they trade. I, I judge them with their profitability. I don't care if people look at horoscopes, astrological patterns and all these weird, you know, things that people do for with superstitions and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna laugh because I do know of a couple of Chinese clients that kind of try to schedule their trading based on lunar patterns and whatnot. Like I said, I'm not gonna laugh. You know who you are. I'm not trying to make fun, but I'm just saying it works for them. They're profitable, and that's fine. At the end of the day, I could care less what you do. You could probably roll a dice every day when you're trading, and if you're consistently making money, like I said, that's great. All I care about is all I always look at whenever I talk to to a trader is, are you profitable? I could care less if you're using Gartley's technicals, MACDs, fundamentals, whatever it is. Whether you're best friends with Yellen, if you're best friends with Yellen, you should probably be winning 100% of the time actually. But at the end of the day, how you trade is is extremely important, and it's amazing that a lot of people don't understand the concept of how to properly trade, and this is where they end up losing a lot of money. Okay, um so again, ultimately what we do here is to try to empower a lot of people who are interested in the markets, who really want to learn more, who want to better understand and be better traders and investors, because this market will continue to be challenging. It's already challenging a lot of bears in 2017, which we're not. We're not bears to be, to be upfront. So I hope, that people who are looking to get some help or uh, get better at trading will look at the things that we do, our publications, our offerings, as a way to improve and really, really, really move past that sort of barrier to being a better trader. All right. So I wish you guys well. Take care, and as always, we're here to help if you need us. Bye for now.